September 30th, 1975. Thousands of fans packed into the Araneta Coliseum in Manila, Philippines. The air felt heavy. The heat was unbearable. Even before the first punch was thrown, men sitting ringside were wiping sweat from their faces. Nobody inside that building knew they were about to witness one of the most brutal nights in boxing history. A fight so cruel, a fight so painful, a fight so exhausting that one man would later say it was the closest thing to die he had ever experienced. Years later, when Muhammad Ali looked back on his incredible career, filled with championships, celebrations, and unforgettable victories, one fight stood apart from all the others. Not because it was his greatest performance, not because it made him the most money, not because it earned him the loudest applause. It stood apart because it hurt more than anything he had ever endured. And the man responsible for that suffering was Joe Frazier, the same rival who refused to quit, the same rival who hated losing, the same rival who had already pushed Ali to his limits before. But this time would be different. This time there would be no easy escape. This time there would be no place to hide. And before the night ended, both men would be forced to discover how much punishment a human body could truly survive. The story actually began years earlier, long before Manila, long before the world called it the Thrilla in Manila, long before Muhammad Ali entered the ring under the bright lights of the Philippines. Ali and Frazier were already connected by one of boxing's most bitter rivalries. The tension between them wasn't just professional. It was personal, deeply personal. When Ali was stripped of his heavyweight title after refusing military induction in 1967, Joe Frazier had quietly supported him. Many people never knew that. Frazier had helped Ali financially. He had spoken on his behalf. He had hoped Ali would return to boxing. At first, there was mutual respect. But once Ali returned to the ring, everything changed. Ali needed promotion. He needed attention. He needed controversy. And Joe Frazier became his target. Ali mocked him publicly, insulted him repeatedly, called him names, questioned his intelligence, questioned his appearance. The words hurt more than Ali realized. Joe Frazier wasn't pretending to be angry. He truly felt betrayed. He had tried to help Ali. Now Ali was humiliating him in front of the world. The anger continued growing, and eventually it exploded into one of the biggest fights sports had ever seen. March 8, 1971. Madison Square Garden. The fight of the century. Ali versus Frazier. Both undefeated. Both claiming to be the true heavyweight champion. The entire world watched. And after 15 brutal rounds, Joe Frazier handed Muhammad Ali his first professional defeat. The image became legendary. Ali crashing to the canvas after Frazier's crushing left hook. The undefeated king had fallen. But the rivalry was far from over. Years passed. Ali rebuilt his career. Frazier defended his reputation. Their hatred deepened. Every interview made things worse. Every public appearance created more tension. Then came another major chapter. George Foreman. In 1973, Foreman destroyed Joe Frazier. Knocked him down again, and again, and again. The heavyweight division suddenly changed. Frazier was no longer champion. Foreman was. Many experts believed Joe Frazier was finished. Too old, too damaged, too slow. But Frazier refused to disappear. That refusal would eventually lead him back to Muhammad Ali. The two rivals met again in 1974. Their second fight lacked the championship stakes of the first encounter, but the hatred remained. Ali won a difficult decision. Now the score between them stood at one victory each. The boxing world immediately began discussing a third fight, a final fight, a fight that would settle everything. Neither man wanted to leave the rivalry unfinished. Neither man wanted uncertainty. Both wanted the final word. Then another event changed history. October 1974. Ali shocked the world. Against all predictions, he defeated George Foreman in Zaire. The rumble in the jungle transformed him once again into heavyweight champion. Many people considered it impossible. Yet Ali had done it. Once more he stood at the top of boxing. Once more he carried the heavyweight crown. But being champion created a new problem. Everyone wanted a chance to take it away. And among those challengers, Joe Frazier remained the most dangerous. By 1975, discussions intensified. Ali versus Frazier. One final time. A rubber match. A deciding battle. The world loved the idea. Promoters loved the idea. Television networks loved the idea. Most importantly, the fighters wanted it. The location surprised everyone. Manila, Philippines. President Ferdinand Marcos wanted a major international event. Promoter Don King wanted a spectacle. Together they created something enormous. Millions of dollars. Worldwide attention. Global anticipation. The fight received a dramatic nickname. The Thrilla in Manila. The name sounded exciting. Almost playful. But nothing about what happened next would be playful. Training camps began. Muhammad Ali appeared confident. As always, he joked, he smiled, he entertained reporters. He predicted victory. Yet, beneath the confidence, Ali understood the challenge. Joe Frazier was different from every other opponent. You couldn't intimidate him. You couldn't discourage him. You couldn't make him quit. If Ali wanted victory, he would have to earn it. Joe Frazier's camp looked very different. No jokes, no smiling, no entertainment, only determination, only focus, only revenge. Frazier desperately wanted to beat Ali again, not merely because of boxing, because of pride, because of years of insults, because of years of public humiliation. This fight meant everything. The weeks passed. The anticipation grew. Reporters followed every development. Fans debated every possibility. Experts argued constantly. Would Ali's speed win? Would Frazier's pressure break him? Nobody knew, and that uncertainty made the fight even bigger. When Ali arrived in Manila, he appeared relaxed. The cameras loved him. The crowds loved him. The attention followed him everywhere. But the environment quickly became a problem. The heat was overwhelming. The humidity felt suffocating. Even standing still became exhausting. Athletes struggled during training sessions. Journalists complained constantly. Everyone understood conditions would affect the fight. The question was simple. Which fighter would handle it better? Neither man realized how important that question would become, because the weather would eventually become a third opponent, an invisible opponent, a merciless opponent, one capable of breaking even the strongest fighters. Fight week finally arrived. The tension became impossible to ignore. Every press conference carried hostility. Every stare carried history. Every moment reminded people that this wasn't merely another championship fight. This was unfinished business. Years of resentment. Years of anger. Years of rivalry. Everything would be settled inside that ring. As the final days approached, trainers became nervous. Both camps understood the stakes. Both camps understood the danger. Neither side wanted to admit it publicly, but everyone knew this fight could become incredibly violent. Joe Frazier planned to pressure Ali relentlessly, move forward, attack constantly, wear him down. Muhammad Ali planned to use speed, movement, precision, experience. Only one strategy would survive, and soon the entire world would discover which one. The night finally arrived. Thousands filled the arena. Television audiences gathered around screens across the globe. Millions waited. Millions wondered. Millions prepared to witness history. But nobody, not the fans, not the reporters, not the fighters themselves, could imagine the suffering that awaited them. Because before sunrise arrived in Manila, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier would push each other beyond every known limit, and one of them would experience the most painful victory of his entire life. The atmosphere inside the Araneta Coliseum felt electric. Fans packed every available seat. Photographers crowded around the ring. Television cameras pointed toward the center of the arena. The noise seemed endless. Yet beneath the excitement was something else. Tension. The kind of tension that appears when two men genuinely dislike each other. This wasn't manufactured drama. This wasn't promotional theater. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier truly wanted to beat each other. The rivalry had gone far beyond boxing. Years of insults, years of resentment, years of emotional wounds. Everything had brought them to this moment. As fight time approached, Joe Frazier made his way toward the ring. His expression revealed nothing. No smile, no fear, no excitement, only determination. The crowd roared. Many understood they were watching one of the toughest fighters in boxing history. A man who never backed down. A man who never searched for excuses. A man who would walk through punishment if it meant reaching victory. Frazier climbed through the ropes and settled into his corner. His eyes remained fixed, focused, waiting. Then came Muhammad Ali, the champion, the showman, the biggest star in sports. The arena erupted. Ali moved toward the ring with confidence. The familiar smile appeared. The familiar swagger appeared. Yet underneath that confidence, Ali understood exactly what awaited him. He knew Joe Frazier better than anyone. He knew the pressure, the strength, the determination, the danger. This would not be easy. Nothing involving Joe Frazier was ever easy. The introductions finally began. The crowd screamed. Flashbulbs exploded. The referee gathered both fighters in the center of the ring. For a brief moment, they stood face to face. The history between them felt visible. Years of rivalry compressed into a single stare. Neither man looked away. Neither man blinked. Neither man gave an inch. The instructions ended. The fighters returned to their corners. The bell rang, and immediately the battle began. Ali started fast, very fast. He moved beautifully. His feet danced. His jab snapped forward repeatedly. Punch after punch landed. Joe Frazier attempted to close the distance, but Ali controlled the range. The champion looked sharp, fresh, dangerous. Each time Frazier stepped forward, another jab greeted him. Another combination followed. Another reminder of Ali's speed. The crowd reacted loudly. Ali appeared in control, exactly where he wanted to be. But Joe Frazier wasn't concerned. He had experienced difficult starts before. His strategy remained unchanged. Keep moving forward. Keep applying pressure. Keep forcing Ali to work. The second round continued in similar fashion. Ali's hands looked incredibly quick. His combinations flowed effortlessly. The champion appeared relaxed, almost comfortable. Commentators praised his movement, praised his timing, praised his accuracy. But Frazier never stopped advancing, never stopped stalking, never stopped searching. And slowly, almost unnoticed, the fight began changing. By the third round, Frazier started finding opportunities, small opportunities, brief opportunities, yet opportunities nonetheless. A hook to the body, a jab to the chest, a short punch during an exchange. Nothing dramatic, nothing spectacular, but enough to establish a pattern. Joe Frazier had begun his work, and once Frazier started working, he rarely stopped. Ali continued winning rounds, continued landing combinations, continued frustrating his rival. Yet something important was happening. The champion was working harder than expected. Every movement required energy. Every punch required effort. And Manila's brutal heat punished every action. Sweat poured from both men. The humidity felt suffocating. Breathing became increasingly difficult. Even spectators complained about the conditions. Inside the ring, the challenge felt far worse. By the fourth round, Frazier's pressure intensified. The challenger moved closer, pressed harder, attacked more aggressively. Ali still landed beautiful punches, still displayed incredible skill. But Frazier was beginning to arrive. The first warning signs appeared. A hard left hook slammed into Ali's side. Another crashed into his ribs. Then another. The crowd reacted immediately. Everyone knew Joe Frazier's left hook. It was one of the most feared punches in boxing. And now it was finding a home. Ali understood the danger. He responded with combinations. Fast combinations. Sharp combinations. Yet Frazier continued advancing. Like a machine. Like a force of nature. Like a man incapable of retreat. The fifth round became more violent. The exchanges grew heavier. The punches landed cleaner. Neither fighter wanted to surrender momentum. Neither fighter wanted to show weakness. The hatred between them seemed to fuel every exchange. Ali talked occasionally, taunted occasionally, but the confidence now required effort, because Joe Frazier was getting closer, closer with every round, closer with every minute, closer with every punch. Then came one of the first major moments. A crushing left hook from Frazier exploded against Ali's body. The champion visibly reacted, only briefly, but the reaction existed. Frazier noticed. His corner noticed. The audience noticed. Joe Frazier increased his pressure immediately. The challenger sensed opportunity, sensed vulnerability, sensed momentum. For the first time all night, Ali found himself forced backward. The crowd roared. The fight had changed, completely changed. The early elegance remained. But now survival was becoming equally important. Round after round, Frazier continued investing in body punches. The strategy looked simple, yet it was devastating. Each punch stole energy. Each punch reduced mobility. Each punch weakened resistance. Ali still won moments, still dazzled the audience, still displayed flashes of brilliance. But the cost of those moments increased steadily. The heat made recovery nearly impossible. Every deep breath felt difficult. Every movement felt heavier. The sixth round produced another brutal exchange. Ali fired combinations upstairs. Frazier answered downstairs. Ali landed clean shots. Frazier landed painful shots. Neither man yielded. Neither man stepped away. The battle grew increasingly savage. And still there were many rounds remaining. The realization frightened everyone. Because if the fight already looked as brutal, what would happen later? What would happen when exhaustion arrived? What would happen when pain accumulated? What would happen when survival became more important than strategy? The seventh round provided clues. Ali's movement slowed slightly, only slightly, yet noticeable. Frazier immediately capitalized. The challenger trapped him along the ropes. Body shots exploded. Hooks crashed. Uppercuts followed. The champion absorbed punishment. Heavy punishment. Punishment few heavyweights could survive comfortably. Yet Ali survived. As always, he answered back. He fought back. He refused to surrender. The crowd sensed something extraordinary unfolding. Not merely a championship fight. Not merely a rivalry. Something bigger. Something unforgettable. By the eighth round, both fighters showed signs of wear. Their faces glistened with sweat. Their breathing grew heavier. Their bodies carried evidence of battle. Yet, neither man slowed significantly. Neither man accepted defeat. The pace remained astonishing. The punishment remained horrifying. The ninth round produced moments of brilliance from Ali. His jab returned. His combinations returned. His speed returned. For brief stretches, he looked like the younger version of himself, the version that had dominated opponents years earlier. The crowd erupted repeatedly, but Frazier never disappeared, never faded, never retreated. Every success Ali enjoyed required tremendous effort. Every moment of control demanded sacrifice. Joe Frazier remained present, always dangerous. The 10th round approached, and something became painfully clear. Neither fighter would leave this ring unchanged. Too much punishment had already been exchanged. Too much energy had already been spent. Too much pride had already been invested. The fight had become a war fought under unbearable conditions, a war fueled by years of resentment, a war neither man intended to lose. And as the middle rounds approached, the suffering would increase dramatically because the most brutal moments of the Thrilla in Manila were still waiting, and both Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier were about to discover that their bodies had limits. The terrifying question was whether either man would recognize those limits before it became too late. The 10th round began with both men carrying visible damage. The speed that had defined the early rounds was slowly disappearing. The freshness was gone. The comfort was gone. Now only determination remained. Muhammad Ali returned to the center of the ring, knowing something dangerous was happening. Joe Frazier was getting stronger. Not physically stronger, mentally stronger. Every round that passed increased Frazier's confidence. Every exchange convinced him that the champion was tiring. And Joe Frazier loved nothing more than a tired opponent. Ali understood it too. He knew exactly what Frazier wanted. The challenger wanted him trapped, wanted him stationary, wanted him exhausted. Because once those things happened, Joe Frazier became one of the most dangerous fighters boxing had ever seen. The 10th round quickly turned violent. Frazier pushed forward relentlessly. The pressure never stopped. Ali landed combinations, sharp combinations, accurate combinations. Yet Frazier absorbed them and continued advancing. The crowd could hardly believe it. Many fighters would have been discouraged. Many fighters would have stepped backward. Many fighters would have looked for safety. Joe Frazier did none of those things. Instead, he walked directly into danger. Again, and again, and again. Then another left hook crashed into Ali's body. The impact echoed through the arena. Ali immediately tied him up. The reaction revealed everything. Those body punches were hurting, really hurting. The champion's ribs were absorbing tremendous punishment, and there was still no end in sight. The 11th round became even uglier. The punches lost elegance, lost beauty, lost technical perfection. Now they carried desperation, raw desperation. The fighters were no longer searching for highlights. They were searching for survival. Sweat flew through the air during every exchange. Breathing became louder. Movement became slower. Yet, somehow the pace remained brutal. Frazier's face showed signs of damage. Ali's face showed signs of damage. Neither man cared. Victory mattered more. The 12th round arrived. The temperature inside the arena seemed impossible. Many observers later described the conditions as unbearable. Even sitting still felt exhausting. Inside the ring, two heavyweight fighters were performing one of the most physically demanding tasks imaginable. The heat drained energy. The humidity stole oxygen. Recovery became nearly impossible. Every second felt difficult. Every minute felt endless. Ali later admitted he had never experienced conditions like it. Not before. Not after. Yet there he stood, still fighting, still answering every challenge, still refusing defeat. Then came one of the fight's most important developments. Joe Frazier began targeting Ali's head more successfully. The challenger found openings, small openings, but enough. A left hook landed, then another, then another. The punches weren't always clean, but they were effective. Ali's head snapped backward. The crowd reacted instantly. Momentum seemed to be shifting. For the first time all night, the possibility of a Frazier victory felt real. Very real. Ali's corner noticed. His trainers noticed. The concern began growing. The champion was taking punishment. Heavy punishment. The kind of punishment that changes fights. The kind of punishment that changes careers. The 13th round felt like pure warfare. No strategy. No finesse. Only combat. Ali stood his ground more often. Perhaps because his legs needed rest. Perhaps because the heat made movement impossible. Whatever the reason, the result favored Joe Frazier. The challenger thrived at close range, thrived in chaos, thrived in pain. Every exchange became dangerous. Every exchange became costly. The crowd watched in amazement. Nobody looked away. Nobody wanted to miss a second, because everyone sensed history unfolding. The 14th round brought another alarming moment. Ali's face showed increasing signs of damage. Swelling appeared around his eyes. Cuts appeared. Bruises deepened. The champion, who once seemed untouchable, now looked human. Very human. Across the ring, Joe Frazier looked equally battered. His own face carried evidence of war. But his pressure never stopped. His determination never disappeared. His will remained unbreakable. And that made him terrifying. Ali landed several beautiful combinations during the round. The kind of combinations that would normally discourage an opponent. Not Joe Frazier. He simply kept coming. As if pain meant nothing. As if exhaustion meant nothing. As if defeat was an option. The 15th round arrived. Both corners knew something extraordinary was happening. The scorecards no longer mattered much. The statistics no longer mattered much. This fight had become something else entirely. A contest of will. A contest of heart. A contest of survival. The punishment reached horrifying levels. Ali's punches landed repeatedly. Frazier's punches landed repeatedly. Neither man surrendered. Neither man broke. The crowd watched two legends push beyond normal limits. And then another problem emerged. Joe Frazier's eyes. The swelling had become severe. Very severe. Round after round, Ali's punches had done their work. The damage accumulated steadily. Now the consequences were becoming visible. One I began closing, then the other. The situation looked dangerous, but Frazier ignored it, ignored all of it. Pain, fatigue, swelling, none of it mattered. He wanted victory, nothing else. The 16th round became one of the most savage rounds ever witnessed in a heavyweight championship fight. Ali sensed opportunity. He increased his output, increased his aggression. The champion understood Frazier's vision was deteriorating. The champion understood time was running short. Not under any circumstances. If someone wanted this fight stopped, the decision had to come from the corner, because the fighter himself would never surrender. Round 24 approached, and Eddie Futch made the hardest decision of his career. He told Joe Frazier the fight was over. Frazier couldn't believe it, didn't want to believe it, didn't accept it. He begged to continue, begged for another round, begged for another chance. But Futch refused. His fighter had given everything, absolutely everything. There was nothing left to prove, nothing left to demonstrate, nothing left to sacrifice. The trainer looked at his exhausted fighter and delivered words that would become legendary. Sit down. Nobody will forget what you did here today. The fight was stopped. Joe Frazier protested, argued, insisted, yet the decision remained final. The referee moved toward the center of the ring. The contest was over. Muhammad Ali had won. The heavyweight champion retained his title. But celebration never arrived. Not immediately, because victory felt different. Victory felt painful. Victory felt costly. Victory felt almost unbearable. When Ali learned the fight had been stopped, relief flooded across his face. Pure relief. Not joy, not excitement. Relief, because he had been moments away from quitting himself. Moments away from surrendering. Had Frazier emerged for another round, history might have unfolded differently. The realization stunned many people years later. The winner had been close to stopping. The loser had been close to continuing. That was how narrow the margin truly was. Ali stood in the ring exhausted, emotionally drained, physically destroyed. The champion had won. Yet he looked like a man who had survived a disaster, not a man celebrating success. The audience rose to its feet. Applause thundered throughout the arena. Everyone understood they had witnessed greatness, not merely athletic greatness, human greatness, the willingness to endure unimaginable hardship, the willingness to continue when every instinct demanded surrender. Joe Frazier remained in his corner, devastated, heartbroken, angry, disappointed, yet respected, deeply respected, because nobody who watched that fight doubted his courage. Nobody questioned his heart. Nobody questioned his determination. He had given everything. Absolutely everything. Muhammad Ali later called Joe Frazier the greatest fighter he ever faced. Those words carried enormous weight. Ali had fought dozens of opponents. Champions. Contenders. Legends. Yet the man who pushed him closest to defeat wasn't George Foreman. Wasn't Sonny Liston. Wasn't Floyd Patterson. It was Joe Frazier. The rival he hated, the rival he respected, the rival who nearly broke him in Manila. As the fighters left the arena, neither man resembled a champion. Neither man resembled a challenger. They resembled survivors. Survivors of one of the most brutal battles boxing had ever witnessed. And although the fight was over, its consequences were only beginning, because the physical damage, the emotional damage, the historical impact would follow both men for the rest of their lives. And in the years ahead, the Thrilla in Manila would become more than a fight. It would become a symbol of sacrifice, a symbol of courage, a symbol of what happens when two extraordinary men refuse to quit, no matter the cost, no matter the pain, no matter the consequences. And decades later, boxing fans would still speak about that night in Manila with awe, because some victories come at a price. And for Muhammad Ali, this had been the most painful victory of all,